be questions. We're going to answer as much as we can today. So just a little bit about me first, in case you don't know me very well, and this is your first boot camp. I started newborn photography out of my living room. I had a 3-month-old baby when I started and a 3-year-old. And so I was doing it out of my living room, and then I ended up doing just like as many newborn sessions as I possibly could. And then I ended up about 2 years into it, ended up getting pregnant with twins, and it was a high risk pregnancy. So I basically thought, because my oldest 2 were so much work and a little bit nuts, there's just no way I could see myself pursuing my photography business. So I decided to quit, and I sold everything I had. I kept my camera. I kept my camera. I kept my lens, and I sold everything else. I got rid of everything. And then after my twins were born, they were like super easy, chill babies. And I ended up being able to start newborn photography again, like when they were 4 months old. So I ended up renting a room, like a small office space out of a massage clinic. And I started doing photography sessions. I got a studio light. And it was a really tiny space, like maybe 10 feet by 10, like it was really tiny. And I would do newborn sessions and kids' portraits. I even tried maternity. The maternity did not work out so well in there. And so as I was doing that, I realized I needed to up my game. So I had already bought online workshops, but I decided I needed to, do a little bit more. So I ended up buying I invested in a one-on-one workshop. And so I did that, and that was good. It definitely showed me how to do a few posing, like table poses. And the lighting was still it's funny because I paid probably $1,700 for a 1-day workshop. We didn't cover parent posing. We didn't cover lighting. We covered fabric posing and props, but only 3 props and only 4 poses on the fabric. And it was $1,700. And that's just the going rate for a one-on-one. So that was a lot of money to invest. And it was fine. It was great at the time. I ended up doing around 4 to 6 newborns a month, and it was great. Eventually we ended up putting a bonus room studio in our home. And I ended up doing it out of my house again. And then a few years later, I took another mentorship, but I actually did it in a group setting versus doing it one-on-one. And there was 6 different girls there, plus the teacher, plus the host. So there was 7 students plus the teacher. And it was really great. I learned a lot. But I also didn't get a lot of I wasn't able to take a lot of pictures during the session because there were so many in the group. And I found that a little frustrating. But anyways, after that, I was bound and determined to take everything I had learned, and I worked my butt off, and I feel like I did a few hundred model sessions, scattered in between paid sessions. And I really fine-tuned everything. So after doing that, I was like, you know what? I want to start a YouTube channel, because I am one of those people that just needs that extra help. And I get really frustrated when my questions aren't being answered, or when I'm trying to find the answers to what I'm looking for and I can't. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to do this for me. And it'll help others, but I'm doing it for me. And so I did that. I started Mom Talk Educate, and I don't remember what year I started that, but it was a long time ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago already, maybe 5 years ago. It was a few years before COVID anyways. And that was really rewarding. I found it super, super rewarding. But I was just doing it for me. I wasn't doing it to have a mentoring group or anything like that. But then during the pandemic, I realized, you know what, we're all at home. I am doing sessions, because in my area, photographers were actually one of the very exclusive businesses that were not shut down during the pandemic. I don't know why, where I live in Canada, So I was able to work, like I had to take precautions and everything, but I was doing sessions full time. And so in between like paid sessions, I was doing sessions for my mentoring group. I decided to start a mentoring group. And so that was just really, really fun. I just absolutely love teaching and I love watching my students grow. And I'm a very hands-on teacher. So I think that's part of the reason why I love mentoring so much, because it's not just selling an online course. It's like really working with the students that want your help. And so that's kind of how that worked out. And then about 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I signed up for an IPS mentoring course. And the whole point of it is to work less, right? Make more and work less. So be smarter, right? And then I've also now invested in a bunch of courses to be a better mentor. So that is all about me. I'm a mom of 4, as you can see here. And that is all about me. So I'm just going to check the chat here. Thank you. I'm so glad you love my YouTube channel. You can never ask too many questions in my mentoring group. I am like all about answering questions. My students can never irritate me. And that's the truth. Like I actually, it's probably like a faux pas or whatever, but we private message, we text, we WhatsApp, like my students have full, like free reign on contacting me. So, yeah, so that's a lot, it's awesome. I love it so much. But I posted that question in this Montauk Educate Facebook group a few days ago. And I asked, what do you guys struggle with? And these were all the things that were listed: angles, keeping babies asleep, table posing, late clients. Ooh, late clients are a pet peeve. Anxiety. Who doesn't have anxiety, right? Everyone, when you're new, I used to feel like I was going to throw up before every newborn session, before every session. Like I literally felt like I was going to puke my guts out. Lighting. People are struggling with lighting. Parent posing. Parent posing is a huge one, because guess what? So many mentors don't teach parent posing, because you want to know why? It's too time consuming. It's a lot of extra work to add in parent posing into a workshop. That's the truth. Posing insecure larger clients with flattering angles. That was mentioned. Hovering parents. How many of you have hovering parents hanging out around you while you're working and you just want to throttle them because you're like, I can't focus because you're on my shoulder. Like, struggling with editing. The bucket pose was mentioned. I think the bucket pose was my nemesis for a really, really long time. Consistency with editing, skin tones, clients taking pictures behind the scenes, getting in the way. That is actually one that doesn't bother me. And I'll explain that in a second. And marketing was also mentioned. So I'm just going to point this out really quickly because it's not going to get mentioned for the rest of the slide or for the rest of this. But clients taking pictures behind the scenes, I understand if they're getting in your way, definitely that is an issue. But I actually encourage my clients to take behind the scenes footage as long as they tag me. So I tell them most of my clients will ask, but I actually encourage it. I say, yes, please. I'd love it if you could tag me. And if you can send me the videos after, that would be awesome, because then I can use them for reels and I can use them on my social media platforms. And it just gets different perspectives. It's not just your perspective, it's the client's perspective. Not to mention when they tag you, that is free marketing, people. Like you cannot, complain about free marketing. So if they're going to take behind the scenes pictures and video, don't worry, they're not going to be better pictures than what you're using with your camera, like taking with your camera and editing professionally. So never ever worry about that. But I understand if they're like getting in the way and you're tripping on them or worried about tripping on them, that's a different story. But don't ever complain about free marketing. Just make it clear that you want them to tag you if that's what they're going to do. Make sure that they tag your business. Okay, so I was just going to break these complaints or these issues or these struggles into 3 ways or 3 categories. Okay. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about those struggles. We're going to talk about what's needed and what's not needed in your business. And I'm going to give you some business advice. Okay. So those struggles that we just talked about, for all newborn photographers or for many newborn photographers, they can kind of be lumped into certain categories. Okay. So I highlighted in purple the ones that can be lumped together. And I will tell you. So keeping babies asleep, late clients, having anxiety, hovering parents, clients taking pictures behind the scenes, getting in your way. That all comes down to prepping your clients properly. Okay. All of those issues can be gone if you prep your clients properly. And I know that like it may sound easier said than done, but I'm not joking. If you prep your clients properly, and I'm not just talking about sending them a prep guide. Yes, the prep guide is a huge part of it, but a huge key to that is communication with your clients. And I'm not talking just emailing. I'm talking initial inquiry. So whether you do that on the phone or by email or by text message, then the consultation, which your consultation should be in person or over video chat so you can see each other's faces. And then you will send the prep guide as a third method of prep. Okay. And when you do all of that, your clients, before they even walk through your door, already understand the concept of or the process of what's going to happen at their newborn session. Okay. So I don't have to worry about keeping the babies asleep, because if my clients who are paying a lot of money to come to me follow all of my advice and my prep, because they understand that it's necessary in order to help the session go as smoothly as possible, now I have very few situations where I have wide awake babies. Okay. It is what it is. It's because I take the time to cover all of that information with them on three occasions. Initial inquiry, if they're serious with me. An initial inquiry is usually a phone call. Second, a consultation in person. So I go over the process on the inquiry, phone call, consultation, and prep guide. So the prep guide is digital, but I talk about what they're going to read in the prep guide twice before they get the prep guide. So because of that, I'm not having that anxiety because I already know that I have these clients fully prepared for this session. And part of that, when they come in, is I tell them where to sit. They're welcome to take, a few peeks at me, which we're all in the same room, but I'm at the other corner of the room. They're welcome to come and peek at the baby as much as they want, but for them to stay mostly in the sitting area because the baby will smell them and they will smell the milk of the mother. Okay. Whether she's breastfeeding or not, she's going to smell like milk and the baby is going to smell her, and that will disrupt the baby. And the thing is from doing newborns for a long enough time, I've been able to work with multiple different scenarios. And I have found that keeping the mothers as far away from the newborn as possible actually helps the baby sleep better. So I used to have a smaller studio space, which you'll see in all the YouTube videos. And I used to have the mom sit right next to me. And guess what? I had a hell of a time keeping those babies settled, let me tell you. But when I moved studios, my room is not as warm, which I find hilarious because, really the babies could be warmer, but they sleep better, not because of the heat situation, because they're not smelling the mom, because I have the heater like right on, blowing warm air on towards them, but they're not smelling the mom and the mom's not hovering. So if you prepare your clients and you let them know, okay, like you do need to arrive by 10 a.m. My sessions always start at 10 a.m. and follow all the prep and everything and cover and communicate everything with them, then your session is going to be 100 times better. I can promise you that right now. And I do teach all of that in mentoring, in case you're wondering. Okay, so the next set of struggles can also be lumped together. So learning angles, table posing, anxiety, lighting, parent posing, flattering angles with larger women, bucket pose, that can be lumped into a course that covers everything, right? So I'm just going to tell you right now, I cover all of everything in my mentoring group. So the angles, the table posing, to cover your anxiety, I give a one-on-one call at the beginning of mentoring, and I do weekly Zooms, and you get it for 6 months. So I'm just throwing that out there. All the lighting, very detailed. There's already 5 newborn lives and a parent posing workshop included. And I also have a newborn live that includes a larger mother and how I got really gorgeous parent poses with her. Another big struggle is the editing portion of everything, right? So the editing, consistency, the skin tones, the marketing, that I'm lumping into a third, which is covered in mentoring. So you don't have to stress about all of those things because it's all covered in my mentoring program. So I want to know, Lacey, what if you're also producing breast milk? Yeah, that might be an issue. It could be. The baby might smell you, possibly. So now I want to talk to you about what's important to run your business. So there's a lot of there's a lot of information out there, and it's really hard to know what's important, what's not important, what do I need, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to set the record straight. You do not need to be certified in anything to be a newborn photographer. Okay. There is no such thing as a worldwide industry standard certification. There isn't. These are just money grabs, and they're used to make those companies extra money. Okay. Safety is important. Let me just make that very clear. It's more important than anything. But the point of what I'm trying to say is that paying for a photography safety course is not as good as maybe paying for an infant CPR course instead. So you're better going somewhere local and learning how to handle a newborn and getting a CPR certification rather than doing that online with a photography company. And I'll tell you why. If you don't know how to handle a newborn, then that is something that you should definitely invest in as a CPR type class, because they're going to teach you, the very fundamental things with handling a newborn. Okay. But there is no necessary certification in the photography world. Okay. So don't worry about that. No, you do not need to have a studio to be a newborn photographer. You can be a mobile photographer. Having a studio does not define your skills or your professionalism as a newborn photographer. And if you're mobile or you rent a studio space as you need to or as you see fit, and that doesn't devalue your business at all. And actually, back in the day, a lot of photographers were mobile photographers. That was just the way it's kind of always been. So don't ever feel like you're not as good as somebody else if you don't have your own studio space. Okay. And the pricing does not matter. How you charge your clients does not matter whether you have a studio or whether you have a mobile service, because there's different expenses involved with both. And your pricing needs to be all revolved around your cost of doing business. Okay. And your business goals. So it's not just about breaking even. It's also about putting money aside and investing in your future. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to check the chat here. Bunch of breastfeeding moms. Well, that is okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. My minimum investment, Tamara, they have to pay $300 for a session, newborns, newborn sessions, and they don't have a minimum ordering requirement. So technically they could come pay me to do their newborn session and walk away with nothing. But that's never happened to me before. They always end up ordering, and I don't have a minimum ordering collection. They buy per digital image, or they can buy a collection of products or an album or something like that. So my average pricing sale is for newborns, I would say it's around either $1,600 to $3,000. Jennifer said they won't purchase your photo. What does that mean? No, that's not true. I don't think so. I'm located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I've never had, if anything, it gives them, it's all about how you do your IPS sales and how you do your business. It's not just about if they have something on their camera, I mean, not their camera, their phone. It's never going to look the same. It's just not. So I don't worry about it. Okay, so what we're going to focus on here, though, are the essentials, the important parts of your business. So the lighting, if you understand your lighting, it makes your editing so much easier. You need to understand not just where to position your light, but you need to understand how to have the light in relation to the pose that you're doing. So every pose, the light may need to be adjusted. Okay. If the baby's face is facing one way and then a different way in the next pose, you're going to need to adjust your light. So you need to understand how the light needs to look on the face of the newborn that you're photographing. And that is just going to make your life so much easier with your editing and with your overall session. It's just going to be so much easier. And you don't have to just stick to artificial light. You don't have to just use studio light. You can use natural light too. The concepts are the same. You need to understand what to look for. Okay, so that's super important. If you don't understand lighting, that's something that you need to invest in. Gear. If you are running a professional photography business, then you really should understand how to shoot in manual mode. This is non-negotiable. If you're using any kind of automatic settings, stop today. Today is the last day that you ever got to do that. Going forward, you're going to definitely learn how to use your camera in manual mode. Okay. And also a DSLR is important. And if you don't have a full frame right now, then work towards getting a full frame or a mirrorless camera body. And skip the kit lens. You don't want that. And don't go for the very basic lenses. Invest in the medium or the top lens. Don't go for the basic, because the basics are usually made with plastic and they're just junk. Okay. They lose focus really easily. Maybe at the beginning they're sharp, and then a few months into it, they don't catch focus anymore. So go for a mid-range lens at the minimum. And if you can't afford one brand new, buy one used. All you have to do is pop it on your camera body and test it before you buy it and make sure it works. And then you're good. I've bought so much gear used, and it's just as good as buying new gear as long as I test it first. Okay. So another two things that are important to understand is that you need to shoot in RAW. Okay. If you're shooting in JPEG, that's a no-no. Okay. If you want to shoot in JPEG for your personal family, fine. That's okay. But you need to shoot in RAW. So that's one of the reasons why it's important to have a DSLR, because you need to be able to change the settings to RAW to shoot in RAW. And this is a digital negative, and it's going to allow you to fix so many different things that a JPEG would never allow you to do. Okay. So that's just the very basic explanation. You do have to use either Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw to work with your RAW files. So that is something that you will need to invest in. And that membership for Adobe Creative Cloud is like $10 a month. So it's definitely worth it to get the best software available. Okay, and one thing I'm going to mention really quickly too is a lot of people don't realize that you need to make sure you're saving your files at 300 pixels per inch. Okay, so when I first started photography, I think I was doing photography for maybe 2 years already. And I didn't realize that the default setting in my Photoshop was set at 240, not at 300. So when I actually ended up doing a photography family session for a very established photographer in the area, I ended up doing her session. I was sweating bullets. I was sick as a dog, nauseous that she was going to pick apart my work. And she loved my work, and she loved her session, and she loved the gallery, but she's like, the file sizes are not save properly. And I was like, what? And sure enough, they were saved at 240 pixels per inch, not 300. So she was blowing them up really, really, really big. She needed the 300 pixels per inch. So she ended up kind of tweaking them herself because she needed a larger size, and I was oblivious. I had no idea. So I'm just letting you guys know because that is really important. Robin, yes, you do stop getting nervous. The more you do things like the same thing on repeat, it just becomes like clockwork, like you don't even think about it. So props, this is something that newborn photographers can get really, really carried away with. And I have to tell you, because I'm Canadian, I don't buy half the props that I wish I could buy, because it costs me about double of what it costs Americans because of shipping. The shipping costs almost the same price as the prop, if not more. And then the exchange rate is terrible. So like, as an example, if I was to buy the honey bucket from Loonberry and it cost me like $100, I would end up paying more like $140 after the exchange. And then the shipping would be another 120 US or 100 US. So then it would end up costing me like $300 or $400 just to get one bucket. So, well, probably around actually it's more like $300. So it's a lot for me to buy props. So I just want to throw that out there, that if you're a new photographer, don't go wasting your money on every prop that you see. You need to buy some really good ones. Don't go to Hobby Lobby or I don't know, whatever the stores are in your area. What is the store that's just like Winners, Marshalls, or something like that? You don't want to go there and just buy all these different baskets and, buy all these metal buckets and buy blah, 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 because they're all going to look like crap. Okay, there's a few that are going to look good, but most of them are going to look like crap. You're just wasting your money. Save that money and invest it in a really good bucket from Loonberry or Rosie Rain or Original Photo Blocks or something like that. Get a really good one, and then get a really good basket or bowl, and then get a really good little like day bed or bench or something, and then get a really good flocati. Okay, so those are really, really essential props that you need when you're first beginning. Okay, don't go and spend your money on a million things that you don't need. Jennifer said posing tools are better than props. Well, props are important if you need props for your photography, definitely, but posing tools are important too. But you can DIY posing tools, but it's a lot harder to DIY nice looking props. Tiffany, for floors, you can get, I would recommend getting the ones that have like a rubber mat on the bottom. I know Rosie Rain I know they all sell them. I don't remember what they're called, if somebody else remembers what they're called, but basically it's like almost like a carpet finish on the top, and it's like a rubber mat on the bottom. And I would recommend getting those over vinyl or poly paper or something like that, because the vinyl are too shiny. Poly paper gets worn out really quickly, and the rubber mats are really, really durable. The only thing is if you're going to do any kind of like cake smash or milk bath or something, you're going to need to put like a plexiglass over top of the floor so that it doesn't get damaged and destroyed. Okay. Another thing, no, my floors are not a mat. Mine are real wood. My floors are real wood. You can actually buy a print of my floors from Lily Bear Props. She sells my floor. But I would definitely recommend getting like the mat with the rubber on the bottom is what I would recommend. And also for like knits and things like that, I would recommend that you stick to like getting a few neutral colors versus getting like 10 different crazy colors, because the thing is when you're starting, even if you've been doing it for a few years, a lot of photographers have a hard time figuring out what style they are. And so what ends up happening is if you buy a whole bunch of random colors because you don't know what colors you're going to like, chances are you're going to end up hating half the colors that you bought. Okay. So at the beginning, just stick to like a really neutral color palette, and then add in as you are growing your business. Because when you start with a neutral color palette, then you can use them on all sessions, and most people have no issues. My seamless is actually a chestnut. It's called Chestnut from Savage. It's the Savage 107 inches wide, and it's chestnut. What size rubber floor mat is good for newborns and sitters? Bigger is better. So honestly, I wouldn't go shorter than 7 feet wide. So like 7 feet wide would be like the smallest size I go. So I would definitely recommend that. Exactly, Nicole. You use a quarter of what you started out with. That's just it. So I'm trying to help you save money, people. Don't waste your money. Buy the basic necessities and then add in as you find your style is developing. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys three different marketing essentials. Okay, because I know everyone struggles with marketing. So the first, and this is way more important than learning ads. This is way more important than spending thousands of dollars on business cards and postcards and brochures and blah, 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 blah. This is what's going to keep your business afloat. Okay. Your website and your SEO are the top priority when it comes to your marketing in your business. Okay. If you do not show up on page 1 of Google search for your keywords, so for example, my area is Edmonton, Alberta. Okay. So when you type in Edmonton newborn photographer, I am on page 1 near the top. Okay. That is your goal. People don't go past the first page of Google. So if you're on page 2 of Google, nobody will find your website. They can't find you, they can't hire you. Okay. So your website, if you don't have one right now, I'm not telling you to go get a crappy website. I'm not telling you to do that, because a bad website is just as bad as having bad SEO. Okay. I cover all of that in mentoring, but I just want you to know that, like, if you have a website that is not ranking on page 1 for your keywords, then you really need to look after that. Okay. Social media, networking, and referrals. So with your website and SEO, these are 3 things that you can help your SEO out. You want to make sure that your heading on your website pages has your keywords in it. Okay. That's a little secret, I'm telling you. Next is you want to make sure that your website images are sized properly. If your website images are not sized properly, you are going to have slow load times on your website, or they're going to be pixelated or blurry, and they're not going to be sharp and focused when people look on your website. And guess what? You have 3 seconds to maintain attention on your website. So that is super important. If you're not, on top of that, you need to fix all of those images that are lagging and get rid of them and replace them with properly sized web images for your site. And your site will tell you what size your images need to be. Okay. Next is that you want to get as many external links as possible for your website. Raquel, my images on my website are 2,000 pixels wide. But every website is going to tell you what their specifics are and what they require. Okay. And Blanca, no, I built my website myself, and I have a bunch of tricks and, ways to keep my SEO good. And I cover that all in my mentoring course. But if you follow these three recommendations, those are really, really great to help you out with your SEO. Okay. But I also had hired a SEO expert who helped me get from the bottom, like I think number 5 for page 1 to like I kind of go between 1 and 2 on page 1. There's this one chick that blogs and does way more with her website than I do, apparently, because if I blog or something, then I pop back up to number 1, and then she'll do something and then she pops back up to number 1. So I fight with another photographer in town over number 1 spot. So I'm like between number 1 and number 2. But to me, I don't care, because when somebody's looking to hire a photographer, they're going to click on the first girl, then they're going to click on me, and then I'm going to get them. So it's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. So with social media, if you're not taking advantage of your social media platforms, you are wasting your opportunity. You're just throwing it out the window. Let me just answer some of your questions real quick. How do you get external links? So you can, submit a bunch of your work to make like online magazines. If they end up publishing you, then they can provide an external link. Maybe you're going to do some work for some different businesses. They can put a link to your website under their photographs. Like any business with a website that links back to your website is an external link. Okay. Those are important because they show Google that your business is real and it's relevant. Okay. Oh, that's nice that your hubby does that for a business, Rochelle. Okay. So websites, if you are going to build your own website, you need to build it on WordPress. Okay. Just go on YouTube and Google how to build a WordPress website if you want to do it for free. Okay. WordPress, you're going to have to pay for the domain and you're going to have to pay for hosting, but the domain's like $30 a year. And the hosting, I think, is between like $25 and $40 a month, depending on which hosting you go with. And so you can do that for a very small budget. And if you do it on WordPress, then you're going to be light years ahead of anybody who does their website on Weebly or Zenfolio or Pixieset or Wix or something like that, because WordPress is like, it streamlines with Google, like it flows perfectly. Like Google loves WordPress. WordPress is like Google's favorite website builder. Okay. So I recommend that you do that. So social media, if you're not taking advantage of it, then you're really missing out. So get on the reels, get on the stories, get on the posts. The posts don't really matter anymore. The posts are like almost borderline irrelevant. So stories and reels is number 1. Stories is second. Posts are third. Posts are like basically there to be like your portfolio. And then stories are to show your personality, and reels are to like engage, have people find you because it shows up in the public. And it's the fastest way for you to grow your business. Okay. You want to make sure that the bio on your Instagram or whatever social media platform you are is really clear. Your services are clear. If you have like a bunch of like cute little sayings and things like that, like nobody wants that when they're looking for a service to hire. Okay. They want to know what you do, where you do it, and how much your stuff is. So that's important. You need to make that clear. You don't have to put your prices on, but you can put a link for them to contact you to get those prices. Okay. And consistency. If you're not posting consistently and being active on your social media, then you are not going to, the algorithm is going to hate you. Okay. And the algorithm will punish you, unfortunately. So the more consistent you get, the more you're going to show up in the algorithm, and the more you show up in the algorithm, the more people are going to find you. So, and it's also not just about the number of followers you have, it's more about the engagement that your account receives. So I find that the more personal my like stories is, or my reels are, the way more engagement I get, then all of a sudden I get like so much more attention, more views on my Instagram account. So don't focus on just growing your followers, but focus on getting the engagement. Okay, the engagement is really important. And then networking and referrals. Don't be afraid to give shout outs to local businesses on social media. Like, honestly, you should be creeping on all the businesses in your target area with your target clients and following them on social media, following their social media accounts, and then giving them a shout out on your photography account. You know, share their business on your account, tag them so they know it. They'll usually respond to you and say thank you. And that opens up a door for communication with that business. Okay. So it's very simple. You can do that without being weird. And, you know, local businesses love local support. So if you can be that support and that business that's cheering them on, then they're most likely going to cheer you on. And then that can open up a door. Also, you can visit, you know, certain local businesses and invite them for like a networking session. You could also offer them like a discounted service for them to offer to their clients as a perk, which is going to get your name out there as well. And then you also want to remind your clients that you love referrals, right? You know, like, you don't have to be all cheesy and weird about it, but you can definitely like post that on your social media. You can have that on your like as like a little saying at the bottom of your email signature, like, thank you for your referrals, your support of my small business means the world, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not great with words. I have to think about it. But you can come up with something and you can let your clients know that your referrals are a really big part of your business. And so it's funny because if you don't say sometimes like what's important, sometimes people don't even think about it. But at the same time, referrals are great when it's just all on the client that's referring you out. I have grown my business dramatically off of just referrals. So I think that, like, don't ever be afraid to ask for referrals, but also don't just base your business off of referrals either. You need to focus on the other two things that I mentioned as well. And a little tip is, you know, what you can do is offer your clients, if they have a big, like if they bought a lot and they're like your ideal client, you can gift them a pack of birth announcements. And on the back of the birth announcement card, you can have all of your website information and how clients can reach you. Because if they're your ideal client, they're probably going to send out at least half of those cards to their friends, not just their family. But maybe their family is pregnant too, and maybe their friends are getting pregnant soon. And then all of a sudden, this circle of ideal clients is all working with you, all because you spent an extra $30 on your client and gifted them some beautiful birth announcements. Now, with that, I would not customize it to their choice of template and their blah, blah, blah. I would just gift it to them. They wouldn't even know about it. And that way they can't ask me, oh, can you change the color? Oh, can you change the font? Oh, can you change this? Can you change that? Because I'm the one paying for it. It's my gift. I would also not even tell them. I would just gift it to them. And that way you can get away with putting all your information on the back side of it without it being cheesy, right? What do you suggest to thank the person who referred the business? I think that, like, you can give them little gifts, you can give them incentives, you can give them like a free digital the next time, like as a thank you. Or you can get them like a little Starbucks gift card or something small but genuine. So what is important to you? I want to know, honestly, like, what is important to you guys with this business? Tell me. I want to know while I'm checking up on these. Nicole said, I see a lot of people say they automatically write off photographers that don't have prices listed. Is this true? Sometimes people will just skip over a website that doesn't have the prices because they don't want to be sold to. I have my base prices on my website. And I do find that I go back and forth on whether I have them posted on my website or not. Tamara said, getting my ideal clients and more inquiries from these. Elizabeth said, making people happy with my photos. That's a great goal. Jennifer said, I'm trying to figure out which service to use for IPS. The other Jennifer said, I want to improve to get better, bring up my prices, maybe take it to a studio. I do in home. I don't charge a lot. I'm afraid to bring up my prices. I think that's a pretty standard fear, I think, for most, definitely. I'm just going through these questions. I love all the chatter. I love it. I love it. Just making sure. If I missed any of your questions, just let me know. That's okay if you travel to people's homes, Jennifer. That is totally okay. Blanca said, to establish yourself well in the community and to deliver an outstanding experience beginning to end. Yes. Absolutely. Sandy said, the enjoyment working with babies. That is a pretty important thing, because if you're not enjoying what you do, it's hard to keep that spark going. And then when the passion fizzles out, then your work will suffer. Amanda said, creating beautiful photos that I'm proud of and that will be lasting, adored memories for my clients. Yes, basically everything that is everyone else is saying, said Lacey. Yes, I agree with all of those statements. So I just want to know, like, you want all of that, and let's just say that you are trying to learn something. Do you believe that you're worth investing in yourself? Because investing in yourself, one little online course at a time, is like eating just fast food. It's going to hit the spot for a little bit, but it's not really going to nourish you. It's not going to give you what you need. And mentoring is like eating a full home cooked meal. It's nourishing. And I thought of that today, because when I was doing newborn photography and I was, buying one retreat or this course or this, whatever, there was so much that it was like, oh my gosh, okay, how do I pick and choose what I'm going to do out of this and make a plan and make it work? And that was the problem. So I just wanted to let you guys know about my mentoring program. It checks all of these boxes. Like, I include contracts, prep guides, workflows, table posing, wrapping, props. All of those are individual tutorials. I have extensive content teaching you lighting, exposure, the settings you need on your light, the settings you need on your camera, how to be consistent with your editing, your workflows with your editing, your business, your cost of doing business, how to figure that out, how to price yourself, and how and what to provide as professional products for your clients. And I also share with you all of the vendors that I use and that I know are really good and trustworthy, and all of the studio essentials. Like, I cover all of it. And I also even show you how to like deliver the gallery to your clients and how to handle client relations. And like, after you learn all of these things, it's going to make you have pride in your business. Because of that, you're going to be like, have more self-worth. You're going to be able to charge more. Because you charge more, you're going to have more free time. You're not going to have that imposter syndrome, because you're going to understand how to be consistent and confident with your abilities. And I think that is just something that mentoring, like, if you go to a 2-day workshop, after the 2-day workshop, the thing is you have to kind of struggle to remember everything that you learned. But with this, it's a 6-month program. and it's called Newborn Posing Photography Academy. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about this because I know that a lot don't know about this. And this is my baby. This is something that I absolutely love doing. It's my pride and joy. I love teaching students how to do newborn photography and basically like hold your hand. So the only thing is that like, I can't help you be successful if you don't want to be successful. That's the thing. Oh, no way, Tiffany. This is the thing, Tiffany, is that, yes, I learn great hands-on too, but the thing is that if you join this week with my online mentoring program, I actually am including for the first 10 people, I'm actually including a 2-hour video mentoring session. And I have done this with like over a dozen of my students, and this was like amazing. I was able to be online with them while they were posing their newborns. And so what we would do is we would set up a phone, like FaceTime video type situation on a, like they had like a stand for their phone, and they had me on like AirPods. And so I would watch them, and because they're already in my mentoring program, they knew the workflow, but I would help them perfect everything. So I could see like if the posing tool was in the wrong spot, or if they were like hesitating, or, you know, they could ask me questions in real time. And that was like, honestly, it's an awesome feature that if you can't come to an in-person workshop. So the link, I'm just going to post it. I'm just going to click on this and pull the link up and post it for you, and then you can check it out. Jennifer, I'm just going to pull up Facebook and then give it to you. Sorry about the dog. Here you go. Ask me questions in real time. And there, I'm just, you can click on the link that I'm just posting. And then I'll just go back to this here. So it's split into 6 payments. Mentoring is split into 6 monthly payments, is 0 interest. So, and we're also going to have a newborn live where I do the newborn session live in our private mentoring group. And my students can ask me questions during the session, and I will focus on, you know, what the students need. So also, I was going to mention that everybody that submitted images for CC on day 2 are going to be entered in to win 1 month free in the mentoring program. So if you wanted to join mentoring, but you're like, well, what if I win? It's okay. I will refund you 1 month if you are the winner. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that. If you want to join, do it, because the thing is that every time I do a boot camp, the price never stays the same. It always increases. So if you are going to join, don't wait too long, because it always gets a little bit more expensive. Oh, I'm so glad, Lauren. You're welcome. Jennifer, I am going to count up the contestants tomorrow and do the draw tomorrow, and I'll post it inside this group tomorrow. So this is just like so easy for all of you to accomplish if you just put your mind to it and you believe in yourself and you want to invest in yourself. It's very easy. I have students that, like, if they work on it, honestly, within a few sessions, they're able to produce work from like this to this, like in a matter of a few sessions. Okay. It's not complicated. And I show you exactly where to place your posing tools, how to tweak your poses if you need them, how to basically prep your clients to make sure that your sessions run smoothly. Like the day of like how old the baby is important. The time of the session is important, like the time of day that you do the session. All these things come into play, like if a baby is born 2 weeks early, if a baby's born 2 weeks late, all of these different things matter when you're a newborn photographer. So if you are interested, then I can help you. And I teach you everything I know. I don't hold anything back. You literally can ask me anything. I'm an open book. So I just want to say thanks for joining me, you guys. And I have one little giveaway for all of you, for everyone that was on here tonight, and for whoever watches the replay tomorrow. You can go on to momtalkeducate.com and you can get my character actions for free. So all you have to do is add them to cart, go to checkout, and then it'll make them 0. So if it is asking for your address, just type in zeros under the apartment section and it'll let you process it. And it's free for everybody. You just have to go to momtalkeducate.com. And that is free for you. So I hope that you guys all had a good time. And I just really appreciate all of you for coming and spending these 3 hours with me. Hey, somebody put a grumpy face on here. Who is that? Kat, you've said Kat is the best. You just need to ask and she will be the help. No struggles. Yes. You're welcome. You're very much welcome. CJ said I have improved so much and don't even have consistent time available to keep between sessions. CJ, you're so funny. Lauren, you can catch the replays in the group for the next few days. Oh, Lacey, that's okay. That was just funny. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you're on the fence about mentoring, don't be afraid to send me a private message. I would love to chat with you personally. And I can even walk you through the program and show you. Just let me know. I would love to have you guys in mentoring. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay. You're so welcome. I'm so glad to help all of you. Okay, so if anyone has any last minute questions, I will let you ask those, and otherwise we will call it a night. You're welcome. Okay, so the winner will be announced tomorrow, and I look forward to having, hopefully some of you join me in mentoring. You won't regret it. Okay, guys, have a great night.